Hello and greetings. My name is Stephen Newman, and I'm reporting for Freedom Fighter News. In this report, I will divulge the details of a new virus I have been working on. It is a computer virus. This virus is designed to selectively take out satellites in orbit and disrupt ground communications. Now, I originally developed this virus to help out the U.S. government in the event that the country was ever invaded by foreign powers such as the Chinese or the Russians. This virus does one thing and one thing only. It knocks out satellite and other orbital communications from the ground to the satellites in space to other troops on the ground. It's meant to interfere with communications and make a military strike practically impossible to coordinate. Now, the way this virus works is really, really simple. I'm not going to get into the technical details here, okay? I don't want people coding this virus on their own. But basically, we send a signal. Well, first of all, before I explain how this virus works, let's look at how a satellite works in space. Let's look at how our orbital defenses work. A satellite is nothing more than a relay point. You beam up a signal to it, and it receives the signal and beams it back down to a certain location on Earth. What my virus does is you send a signal to the satellite, and it locks down the satellite, and all it does is have that satellite using whatever communication gear it has to try to talk to all the other satellites. And each satellite it reaches, this virus locks it down and has that satellite trying to send out information to all the other satellites. In essence, all the satellites are too busy sending signals to each other to be used for communicative purposes. The reason I'm telling people about this virus is there is a question. And the question is this: is rogue elements of our government, rogue military elements of our government, planning to take it over? Think about the layout of our government for a second, right? Where does the power lie? In Washington, D.C., or with the generals who control our nuclear arsenal at facilities like NORAD? That's the question you have to ask yourself. That's the question we all have to ask ourselves. We all need to look very, very closely at the events in Ferguson. What really happened? Why was there such a police escalation? Why, since the end of the Cold War, have we militarized our police forces by giving them equipment? Could it be? Is it possible that these police forces are given military equipment so that rogue elements can have grassroots support for taking over this country? All they need, if you really think about it, is the slightest excuse. Fear of invasion, fear of terrorism, there's a terrorist attack, there's civil unrest, and boom, they can declare martial law like that. And if you don't believe me, look at Ferguson. Within 24 hours, 48 hours tops, control of the city was handed over to the State Highway Patrol, who handed control over to the National Guard. The police came in with armored personnel carriers, military assault rifles, against unarmed civilians. Where do they get this equipment from? Why are they getting this equipment? Why has there been a record amount of military equipment transferred to our police forces? Now, some of you might think, oh, he's just a crazy crackpot. This is some crazy conspiracy theory. And you know what? You are entitled to think that. But before you judge me, or before you say I'm wrong, or before you say I'm a crackpot, do the research for yourself. Look at the orders. Look at the actions of our military. Look at the events in Ferguson. Look at the Patriot Act. Okay, anyone can be classified as a terrorist and dragged off. The fact that you think you're free, that I'm free, that we're free as an American people, as an American populace, is a lie. None of us are free. We just have the illusion of freedom. Now, violence is not the answer. I must emphasize this. We must use all nonviolent means before even remotely considering violence. Now, the choice is up to you. Up to every citizen. Do you get up off your butt and try to find the truth? Or do you just sit back on your ass and do nothing? I'm coming forward with everything I know about them, including the virus design that I developed, that they stole, that they weaponized, and made several versions of, and they used this weaponized version of my virus to bring down military aircraft, and for other purposes for which I never intended. So I leave you all with this question. What will you do? Will you take the time to investigate? Will you take the time to do the research? Will you take the time to hold the United States government accountable and see who's doing what? Or you could do nothing. If you are listening to this video, if you are hearing this message, if you feel as I do, if you believe as I do, then I ask that you get off your butts and you, at the very least, you investigate this. And see how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is Stephen Newman, signing off of Freedom Fire News. And remember, if you are watching this, you are the hope. You are the resistance.